In what can only be described as a catastrophic and shameful display of ego-driven opportunism, Meghan Markle released her long-hyped podcast project on the very same day Prince Harry faced one of the most pivotal legal battles of his post-royal life. A courtroom showdown over his taxpayer-funded UK security. The timing wasn't just insensitive, it was telling. And it didn't go unnoticed. In a rare but searing moment of truth from the celebrity-saturated echo chamber, comedian and commentator Jon Stewart didn't hold back. On live broadcast, Stewart ridiculed the move as narcissistic, tone-deaf, and exactly why people can't stand them anymore. And he's not wrong. This was Meghan Markle at her most transparent, capitalizing on chaos, sidelining her own husband, and proving yet again that her pursuit of publicity will always outrank any sense of timing, decency, or loyalty. Stewart's takedown of Meghan was a rare and refreshing break from the typical Hollywood enabling that usually surrounds the Sussexes. Speaking with his trademark mix of satire and searing honesty, Stewart called out the obvious. You've got your husband in court, sweating bullets about whether he gets armed protection or not, and you think, hey, let's launch a podcast today? What is this? A brand launch or a marriage? Though delivered with wit, the comment struck a nerve because it encapsulated what so many have felt but feared to say. Meghan's self-promotion knows no boundaries, not even those of basic spousal support. For Stewart, a longtime critic of political and media hypocrisy, this was low-hanging fruit. And he's right to mock it. Because this wasn't just a media faux pas, it was a slap in the face to Harry and a slap in the face to every viewer still willing to believe these two were anything more than image-obsessed opportunists. This wasn't a scheduling error. This wasn't an accident. Meghan Markle's team would have known exactly what day Harry's security court case was unfolding. In fact, their entire PR machine would have been briefed, timed, and coordinated to ensure maximum visibility. And yet, they forged ahead. What does that say about Meghan's priorities? It screams volumes. This was a day that could have been used to rally behind her husband, to show unity, to support his fight. Instead, Meghan chose herself. Again. It's the same pattern we've seen time and again, from the Oprah interview to the docuseries launch, always conveniently timed to either overshadow royal events or create spectacle. Critics have long argued that Meghan uses moments of public controversy as a spotlight opportunity. But this was beyond cynical, it was crass. Her podcast wasn't a surprise drop. It was a calculated move that reflected exactly where Harry stands in her brand hierarchy, beneath the brand. And what makes this all the more embarrassing is that the podcast itself, despite the orchestrated hype, landed like a lead balloon. Early reviews have been tepid at best, with critics accusing it of being overproduced, patronizing, and lacking in any fresh perspective. The Guardian noted that the project feels more like an infomercial for Meghan than a genuine conversation starter, while Variety called it insufferably polished and strangely hollow. The irony? While Harry stood in court trying to justify his worthiness for public security funds, Meghan was narrating her own worthiness to lead public discourse. One in a courtroom, the other in a recording booth, and only one seemed even remotely grounded in reality. It was a juxtaposition that perfectly captured the current state of the Sussex brand. Divided, disconnected, and increasingly despised. Prince Harry's UK security lawsuit was never going to be easy. Already riddled with contradictions, entitled demands, and a staggering lack of legal merit, the case needed all the goodwill it could muster. But rather than present a united front, Meghan's podcast Blitz effectively hijacked the narrative. News outlets were left splitting headlines between Harry's high-stakes court case and Meghan's media comeback. Guess which one got more clicks? The impact was devastating. Legal experts and royal commentators blasted the timing as baffling and self-sabotaging. A former royal aide went so far as to call it strategic betrayal. And the court of public opinion? Ruthless. Social media exploded with criticism, branding Meghan as clueless, egotistical, and the worst kind of fame chaser. What was meant to be Harry's moment of legal reckoning turned into Meghan's personal branding exercise. And it couldn't have looked worse. This whole fiasco lays bare the essential contradiction at the heart of Harry and Meghan's public persona. They want to be seen as victims, yet operate like VIPs. They cry foul over press intrusion while courting the very same press. They demand privacy, but drop podcast episodes on court hearing days. They ask for understanding but show none. It's a farce of Shakespearean proportions, and Meghan just wrote the latest act. For a couple who fled the UK claiming to want a normal life, their actions scream anything but normalcy. They've become a corporate spectacle, a two-headed brand beast incapable of functioning unless in full public view. And with Meghan's tone-deaf move, it's clear who's pulling the strings and who's just the accessory. If Meghan thought this podcast stunt would revive her public image, she grossly miscalculated. Instead, it has become another nail in the coffin of public trust. Polls indicate a steep decline in the couple's popularity on both sides of the Atlantic, and social media commentary has shifted from sympathetic to outright hostile. Piers Morgan didn't miss the chance to weigh in, tweeting, "Only Meghan Markle could make her husband's and independent platforms. Even former supporters are turning." As one prominent US-based royal commentator put it, "At some point, even your most loyal followers start asking why everything always seems to circle back to Meghan's spotlight." Royal insiders weren't surprised by Meghan's move. In fact, one former palace aide told The Times, "This is exactly the type of PR blunder we've come to expect. Everything is transactional with them now. Loyalty doesn't enter into it." The implication is clear. Meghan doesn't make mistakes like this. She makes decisions. And those decisions rarely include Harry's interests unless they align with hers. This episode has further damaged any remaining bridge between the Sussexes and the royal family. Already estranged, this latest move confirms the belief within palace walls that reconciliation is not only unlikely, it's unwanted. When one partner releases a vanity podcast while the other battles for legal dignity, it's not just dysfunction, it's a spectacle. For all the public declarations of unity, moments like this raise serious questions about the Sussex marriage. How strong